Paul. Here we go, Paul. As in Paul Allen, as in 9 to noon. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to FM 100.3 KFAN. All of you power trippers listening to the wildly successful and highly touted Power Trip Morning Show.
Here we go, Paul!
The anchor for FM 100.3 KFAN. Your home for everything funky and fun from an audio standpoint. Mad producer is off for a few days, and I'm sure he'll miss discussing stuff like this.
Comes down to Cleveland. Here's Sam Merrill up in the front court. He'll pop on a right side three and drain it. 16-0 start to the game for Cleveland. Bulls have Ant bring the ball up here.
Oh!
Down to Keel with it. Hand off to Ant. Edwards 15 points. All 4 of his field goals have come from beyond the arc. He split 2 defenders. He tried to track it down. He turned it over. Ant is complaining. He is at the other end of the floor, and Donovan Mitchell rattles a corner 3. 57-38, 19 points. Cleveland advantage.
Alan Horton, the radio vox for the Minnesota Timberwolves, as heard on FM 100.3 KFAN last night. My man sounded pear-shaped and sad. Good morning, young Maxwell.
Hey, good morning, PA.
Do you think we'll be creating Howlin' with the Homies T-shirts during a long playoff run for the Wolves? And good morning.
And good morning. We're better off putting the count from Sesame Street on a T-shirt with 0 for 1, 0 for 2,
Right. Now, see, a joke like that, good morning.
Good morning.
A joke like that hits hard with me because of these eyebrows. There was a time in my life, in my high school days, not only was I called Paul Alien, I was... we always love that one. It's okay. Wow, I love that. Hey, it's Paul Alien. Oh, great. But they also compared me to Bert from Bert and Ernie and Sesame Street. You dropped the Sesame Street bomb on us right there, my man. I understand we have another highlight of the macabre. Give it to us.
Cavaliers have the rebound, hit ahead, Ty Jerome off to Donovan Mitchell, catch and shoot 3 on the way, got it.
Damn, listen to Horton.
Donovan Mitchell from a good 4 feet beyond the arc, just in rhythm, drains the triple. Shooting 39% on 9 attempts per game. When he gets a catch and shoot, he shoots 43%. And sidestep, pull up, left side 3, got it. A dozen now for Anthony Edwards. He's 3 of 12 shooting.
Started out 1 of 10, finished with a fat box score, but we still took that L. Welcome to 9 to noon. Now, while much of last night's game was quite offensive to Howl-loving basketball snobs like young Maxwell Fuller, Coach Chris Finch didn't necessarily like the offense he was seeing.
Yeah, I didn't like much about us tonight. Our start. We missed shots. I thought we would kind of figure out how to get into the game. I didn't like our toughness tonight. I didn't like our offense at all. I thought it just kind of bogged down, and their switching did some of that too. But I didn't think we were very. I didn't think we were super intelligent on that side of the floor. I didn't like our kind of resistance when it mattered. We'd been playing way better than that. So there wasn't a lot to like about tonight. But.
That's Chris Finch following the loss to Cleveland last night, heard on KFAN. Max, how was the watch party at Wildcats in Egan last night, well?
Yeah, great night for a
game like
watch party when the Wolves start off 0 for 16 and trail by 20 virtually the entire night. Lucky the good people of Egan and the good people of Wildcats are rowdy and rambunctious and energetic no matter what, because the game did not give them a whole lot to cheer for.
Right, so there was no howling with my homie?
There was no howling with that. There was homies, but there was no howling. Only howling out in pain, I guess, but not any howling for joy.
So at 6-0, Stifle goes to the line, misses. I mean, it was a crafty early evening brickathon. And then he makes the second. We scored. We're down 16-1. Were they howling with the homies at that point, like copyright Kevin Garnett, we're coming? Or did they want to talk about like boring ownership talkers and stuff?
At that point, I think that people were hoping that the Wild would suddenly have a random game that would start all of a sudden. Hey, is Gophers basketball on? Anybody got any reruns of CSI Miami to turn on or anything like that?
Hey, the watch party started like this. Hey! We're howling with the homies. Here we go. Wolves, Cavs, and I'm Maxwell Fuller. Let's howl. Hey, we're gonna beat the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell.
Hey,
I don't like his Cavs. Beat the Cavaliers. Hey, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, what happened? We're down 16-0, man. Where's Julius? Everybody hated Julius. Now where's Julius to give us some points? What time does Luka play?
right.
Hey, Wildcats. We still got those drink deals for when Luka plays? And what time is it? Because Max will stay around. Oh, wait, Uber stops when? Hey! Oh, let's go, Luka. Beat the Jazz. 3, 2, and. The game put Max to sleep. The Wolves couldn't find a beat. Turn off the flashlight. Oh, man. All right, that's cool. That's good, man. Wolves game last night. Hey. Meanwhile, how about those Cleveland Cavaliers?
Man.
They haven't been fresh since Mark Price was hitting threes and chucking up lobs to Larry Nance Sr. off pick set by Danny Ferry. Nice squad. Max says the Cavs are a vibe. Are the Cavs a vibe?
The Cavs kind of are a vibe. Hit flashlight again.
Why are you laughing?
The Cavs are a vibe. They're one of the best teams in the NBA, PA.
Right,
I think they can do the whole damn thing.
Are the Cavs a vibe?
They're a vibe, though.
Hey! Mark Price. Here comes Larry Nance Sr. off a Danny Ferry pick. Slam dunk. We put you sleep last night. The game was on KFAN. Should have been on the iHeart app, all right. Flashlight. Designated channel, right? All right, man. You're just bringing out the goofball in me right now. All right, 3-2. Max says the Cavs are a vibe. So help us here, Mr. Host of Wolves Fan Line, and howling with the Hizzles, howling with the homies. Do we think the Cleveland Cavaliers are NBA title-winning worthy stock?
I do. I think that their Achilles heel is that they got to play some better defense because the Celtics are just as good as them offensively. They have just as much depth. They match up with the Celtics in almost every single category except for defense. We know that Celtics team can lock teams down and just absolutely stifle teams defensively.
Bro, that defense we saw last night reminded me of the 85 Bears.
Yeah, well, I think it was more bad Wolves offense than good Cavs defense. But that's the modern version. And I think all the best teams in the NBA are like this right now. They're modern versions of those old Spurs teams where the ball never gets too sticky. Almost every time I'm looking at a Cavaliers box score, about 6, 7, maybe even 8 players are in double digits. It's not just Spida Mitchell taking over. It's not just whoever dropping 40 points that night and they're reliant on that. Much of like how the Wolves are kind of reliant on Anthony Edwards having big games almost every single night. It's Evan Mobley will have a random night like last night where he has 28 points. They got DeAndre Hunter, who's a great wing defender that's going to help their defense out now. And then they got, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Sam Merrill. The list goes on and on and on. So that is a deep, deep team. And I truly, fully believe it's as you kind of mentioned in the intro, the Eastern Conference is super top heavy.
Yep, ain't great.
It's not the best. The Wolves would I think they'd be a top 5 seed if they were in the Western Conference or the Eastern Conference right now.
Yeah.
And I think really Cleveland is one of the only teams that actually it's a 3-team race in the Eastern Conference for me. It's Cleveland, it's Boston, and then a little bit further behind is New York if they can get their stuff together.
So we ran into a buzzsaw, no doubt, howling with a homie at the watch party at Wildcats in Eagan. At least it gets easier into the All-Star break, right? Okay. Milwaukee here tomorrow night.
Great. No Giannis, though.
No Giannis. Then, then one of the best in show. The OKC is here Thursday. Coach Finch starts 9 to noon tomorrow. We believe Coach Finch, beloved Finchy, starts 9 to noon tomorrow. Make sure you tune in for that with appointment listening. Yep, no Giannis tomorrow night, but plenty of Dame. With plenty of Dame, I think the way the fill-in producer today, Maxx Fuller, would put it, with plenty of Dame for the Wolves, it would be a bad time to come up mid.
I always love that one.
Is it a bad time to come up mid?
It's always a bad time to come up mid.
Remember when you first met Finchy and he thought you were Darnell Hillman's kid? Because of your hair? I loved your dad when I was growing up outside of Philadelphia. Man, what a dunker he was.
He dabbed me up and said, "Oh, DJ, what's going on, man?"
He's like, Darrell Griffith, Dr. Duncanstein, Darnell Hillman. Yeah, that was cool. Parker Fox joins us tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Hey.
Yeah, that's going to be sweet. So Max will be here tomorrow for sure. And we're going to bring P. Fox in and bring in that Howlin' with the Homies group. That's the Howlin' with the Homies co-host. And those nights at Target Center before playoff games in the booth with you guys was absolutely awesome. In fact, about the only way to put it, Max, is like this. Max proclaimed said shows and nights indeed were a vibe, a jam, a banger.
I always love that one.
Somebody would spew lies, and young Maxwell quickly would let them know what they shared was cap, if not kizzy cap. No matter the drip, no matter the riz, young Maxwell wasn't trying to hear it. Nah, Max and Parker don't care about the drip. They just want the team to smack, even if it's low-key. They don't need extra, even low-key extra. And they're not in it for the tea, the gossip. And they realize there are games like last night they just like to yeet out the window. Nah, our Howlin' with the Homies are in it for the howl to unfurl a fat flex. Straight fire is what we got in the playoffs last year, and the phrase was not glazed. They weren't elevating betas. Bet. Nah, it just hit different. They were like, bro, this team's fire. How's fire? This place fire. They're hoping for the blaze without the glaze. The Timberwolves in the playoffs are straight fire. Not trying to be emo up in here. Just trying to get the kids paid with a long playoff run and that wonderful vibe known as Howlin' with the Homies, not to have to handle a mental B. They don't prefer basketball that is mid. Let them cook is the mantra. Avoid the side eye. They keep those receipts, my friends, and the hot takes are fire. And thus, the show is put on blast. You feel me?
I feel you, no cap.
Like living rent-free in the minds of other fan line shows. Last night, we all felt like we were left on red. Thank you, TimberTech. Thank you, TimberTech.com. Hey. Kizzy cap, though.
Well, kizzy cap.
Can't say when I went looking for kid slang that I knew what kizzy cap was. TimberTech.com provides what's on deck 9 to noon today, and we got a lot planned for you today, so just make sure you listen to each and every second, each and every minute, and all 3 hours so you can be apprised. Max has some money to give away before the next segment, and here he is.
The Fan wants to give you a shot to put $1,000 in your hand with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword grand at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword grand. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
That's nice. That's nice. Can't say I've ever heard this one in the weak track file. Where'd you find this?
Oh, you know your boy's gonna find the bangers, even if it's just the iHeart Media bed. I'm always gonna find.
It's brassy.
It's pretty nice, right?
It was brassy.
It's like a late night talk show vibe.
Yeah. Coming up tonight with Maxwell Fuller, Bill Maher, ladies and gentlemen. followed by Stephen A. Smith, and then host of the wildly successful, highly touted Howlin' with the Homies, Parker Fox. Oh, then they're just playing. Ivy, Jamie, 8, 1, 2, 3, and. So Mark Lowry and A-Rod won an arbitration hearing. If I make any mistakes along the way here, just howl at this on me, okay?
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, it's... all right, 3-2. So Mark Lowry and A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez won an arbitration hearing to become majority owners of the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Lynx. To many... All right. And see, I'm going to need the... Like, in a situation like this, for somebody who's owned a basketball team for 30 years, I believe, saved them from relocation to New Orleans at one point, and you know, just was involved in a lot of good things for this organization, and also some things that have fans frustrated. Man, I think it'd be really cool if you hit that talkback machine right now and this is FEHA, Fairness and Host Act. This is FEHINA, Fairness and Host of 9 to Noon Act. I just would like to hear some people put their names on analysis, criticism, chastising, breaking it down via the talkback machine. And Maxx Fuller, what's the best way for people to find what 9 to Noon affectionately calls and effectively calls the talkback machine?
You can go on the free iHeartRadio app. New and improved, by the way, with presets. You can preset 9 to Noon or KFAN or even KFAN Plus. Yeah. And you can tap on that little microphone icon. Give us your best 30 seconds. We won't judge you. You can only last 30 seconds. Yep. And then you can send us a free talkback. I'll take a listen to it. Make sure you don't curse or say any obscenities. Yeah. And we might play it back over these fine airwaves.
Yeah, I had a 9 to Noon preset sheet with me. Can't seem to find it. How does that go? Like, preset 9 to Noon via the free iHeartRadio app. Download it now. Is it something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. So with the talkbacks, let's make it ownership. Wow, this is cool. This is a nice little compound adjective right here. Let's make it super special ownership related. All right, 3-2. Let's make it super special ownership arbitration ruling content related special at the free iHeartRadio app. Please leave your name. And if you're so inclined, it's what are we sensing? Fans dig about this arbitration ruling 2-1 in favor of the duo. With the assumption the NBA Board of Governors votes it through. I just want to see what fans are digging about this. So fire off some talkbacks if interested on what this means to you. We got that free iHeartRadio app. It's easier. We have presets, and we'll play some next segment because I've just sensed that Boss Taylor's getting smacked by homies who howl, and I'd like to hear why. So please share your name, then comment, and we'll see if we have some for the next segment. Clearly, Lowry and Rodriguez took it personally when Glenn Taylor all of a sudden called off the deal. All right, so they had a deal, felt like it was about a year ago, somewhere around March, something like that, all of a sudden the deal's done. The deal's dead. They moved in for the ownership kill. The team's value doubled in a few years. And all of a sudden, the deal was off. I mean, is it too simplistic to look at it that way? It's like you had a deal, and it was like 2 years and change, maybe close to 3 years from the point that I believe pen met paper, and you got a deal. And then during said span, now the team gets good, and now all of a sudden Stifel's not punching teammates, and Ant's dunking on everybody and hitting threes like Reggie Miller. And people want to howl with the homies. And the value of the team like doubles. And then all of a sudden it's like googly goo. You missed a deadline. You ain't got enough money. And the deal's off. Is it that simplistic? The amount of money the new duo possessed was called into question. Then Mark Laurie had a quote that I saw in The Athletic when researching this bad boy this morning. Right to the old Johnny Athletic file and read through that thing to help with this. And there was a quote in there which was pretty straightforward. Mark Laurie last March, all right, when the financial wherewithal or lack thereof of him and Alex Rodriguez had been called into question, Mark said, quote, "Financially, I've never been in a better place. I've got hundreds of millions of dollars of liquid capital sitting in the bank ready to invest should it be necessary." End quote. Damn, man.
He flexed on
I mean, a lot of people in this world have hundreds of millions of dollars that they can just like put their ATM code or just put some code in, write some check, give some slip, and then they can get a lot of it or maybe all of it. Can't say that I've ever heard somebody say something like, I mean, you talk about fat flex with Riz that's just full of drip, has no low key, and is antithetical to mid. Financially, I've never been in a better place.
You know what they call that, PA? Another slang term that the kids call that?
Give it to me.
Going band for band.
I always love that.
He said,
"Oh, band for band.
Band for band."
Money
he said,
band.
"Let's go band for band."
Yeah, let's go band for band and stop second guessing my band because I'm not mid. Okay. Financially, I've never been in a better place. I got hundreds of millions of dollars of liquid capital sitting in the bank ready to invest should it be necessary. I mean, covenant claps for Mark Laurie. A, for having the hundreds of millions, legally attaining hundreds of millions of dollars to have it in the bank where it can be liquid if you want to go to Punta Cana and shoot dice at Hard Rock, if you want to go to Las Vegas, or if you want to buy a basketball team. But I got to say, having the testicular fortitude, having the self-assurance in non-braggadocious fashion, because somebody has pinned you into a corner and somebody's put your back against the wall, but maybe most importantly for people who deal at this level, somebody called into questions your nickels and dimes. So it's not like you're going to be, shh, man, I'm good. We're good. We have plenty of money. I mean, I can show you these financial statements and everything, and we're good, and he's not telling the truth. Or you can come out and be quoted as saying, financially, I've never been in a better place. I've got hundreds of millions of dollars of liquid capital sitting in the bank ready to invest should it be necessary. Covenant claps for that cocksure nature of just like laying down the financial law.
He said, boy, I can't just make it rain. I can make it hurricane up in this piece.
Is it a fat flex?
It's a fat
always love
flex.
that one.
Band for band, though.
Target Center is the second oldest arena in the league. So Laurie and A-Rod, now this is under the assumption, because I also read in the Johnny Athletic piece, I think it was from a source, and Johnny Athletic's a 99.9% guy, if not 100%, that the way things are constructed and stuff, you can't appeal this. So like this is done. It's like bet settled. Bet with the assumption, I think it's 23 votes, that the NBA Board of Governors votes this majority ownership flip through. Talkback's free iHeartRadio app. Name in 30 seconds, please, on any of this. We will do our best to play some next segment. So Target Center is the second oldest arena in the league, and Laurie and Rodriguez have a goal to build a privately financed arena. Well, that's cool. Now, one of the owners says he has fat stacks of hundreds of millions of dollars in his bank account, so like getting a privately financed arena shouldn't be a problem. I mean, the assumption here is at least most of it privately, I would assume, or maybe all. Shouldn't be a problem, right? But I have a question for you. You're an elite Minneapolis mind. Mm-hmm. Where would the new arena go?
They said they want it to be where the farmers market is.
Where's that?
It's not too far from Loring Park in that area.
By the Basilica?
Sort of. It's like, yeah, I guess it's sort of over there.
Okay, so you're on 394 and you're swinging into Howell with the homies. Get off at 4th or 6th, find parking, come in and Howell. So as you're coming in from the west, and then you look over to the right and you see like a big building. Oh man, I can't remember what the name of it is. Just like
it's right over there on Lyndale,
and they're like
East
baseball
Lyndale.
or softball fields or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that whole area right there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. This seems like they would have ample room, right?
Yeah.
I just want to know why so much blasting of Glenn Taylor. And again, FINA, fairness and 9 to noon host. I'm conceding reading stories about ownership changes can be boring. Yours truly has an attention span that is more apt to focus on why Evan Mobley couldn't be contained on alley-oops with bigs just looking at him, dunking their faces, as opposed to majority and minority ownership changes and somebody who's owned a team for a long time. And it had been, I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong here, but like Glenn Taylor is the majority owner of the Minnesota Timberwolves. When you howl with homies, do you get people like bashing that? Like, year after, like, unless there's a story or a potential sale, like, do people just bash Glenn Taylor out of nowhere? Kind of the way the poll ads would catch strays left and right?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say Glenn Taylor is probably only behind the poll ads is probably the second least favorite owner of the core four sports in town. People just casually do it all the time.
To the best of your knowledge, what am I missing?
I think a lot of it.
I just want to know why an owner who has owned as long as he has, I mean, that there's good that's come out of that, the Taylor ownership.
Yeah.
I mean, it's there has to be good that can be identified here, but and sorry to clip on you there, but is there just a polarizing, obvious thing that I'm missing here?
I think the one that is cited the most from fans when I'm talking to them is him and Kevin Garnett's kind of public beef. He doesn't.
How does that impact the bottom line of the team?
I just think a lot of people don't like, considering the whole macro history of the Timberwolves, right? We just recently started finding success again, but for a long time, those Kevin Garnett years are the years that we hung on to, and I think a lot of people just didn't like the idea that the one true bona fide superstar that we ever had in town prior to Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns getting into town was treated poorly, treated unfairly, and still to this day is not getting his just due with his jersey up there. He should probably have a statue. I mean, he's the whole thing. And obviously,
but Kevin has not handled it maturely either.
No. I mean, no. He's been very explicit and public with his dislike of Glenn Taylor. And I don't know what went down between them behind closed doors, but I think that's what a lot of fans don't like that. A lot of fans don't like that. It's just more of the same. I think at least some of the other teams and towns have taken big swings, and even if you miss, you took the big swing. For the longest time, the Timberwolves never took a big swing at all.
Well, now, there's a difference between taking big swings and not taking big swings, just being impervious to them, and like, I'm going to sit on all this cash. Okay, there is that. There could be that. But there also is a side of it where you take big swings, the media and or public does not know about it, and you get a majority of people in the NBA who for years would say, I ain't playing there. I'm not playing in that city. It's too cold. They generally are not good. And if it was a 50-50 between middling teams to help make them better, that there are players that would take less money to go to places that maybe don't have state income tax and also warmer climate. And that's just, I mean, I'll never forget, man. And my son Derek's going to come by and sit with you tomorrow and chat with you about some UFC related things. And he may remember the year. I can't remember the year. But he and Derek and I probably have been to 60, 70, 80, 90 Timberwolves games here, there, and everywhere during our lives. There was a game when the Houston Rockets were in town. I believe it was the Rockets or the Sacramento Kings. Kevin Martin was the player. All right. Do you remember Kevin Martin?
Of course, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Kevin Martin. Right nearing the end of his career, silky smooth guy, set to be a free agent. All right, so Senor Smiley, my beloved Larry, my son, he's probably 8, 9, 10, something like that. It's about 14, 15, 16 years ago. And he's set to be a free agent. So, there aren't many people at Target Center during the shoot-arounds where we were able to navigate our way behind the basket where I believe the Rockets were warming up before the game. There's Kevin Martin. Get the attention of Kevin Martin. Kmart, and this is all true. Kmart, any chance you play here next year? And he looked over and chuckled. And then I said, free agency, come to the Timberwolves. And then he chuckled and was like, you could give me the key to the city and I wouldn't come here. Okay?
Yeah.
That's fact.
Right.
That's absolute stone cold truth fact. Well, who's to say that, like, if you had requisite money to get a Kevin Martin or get whatever free agent you wanted, you were just told initially by agents, don't call. They ain't coming. So, I mean, I think that should factor into it, too.
I totally get what you're saying, but in the terms of, like, the ire of fans aren't going to – they're going to look for somewhere to blame when there's been constant player changes, team changes, coaching changes. Everything has changed a part of this franchise except for ownership. So I feel like it's only natural for fans' ire to start eventually going that way. And then you start to hear the different stories. And then there's, little things like the Andrew Wiggins deal, some, bad deals, or the Joe Smith thing. And I think a bunch of little things added up, because this has been a long marriage between Glenn Taylor and the Timberwolves and the Timberwolves and the Twin Cities. So I think just after time, people just got fed up with it. And some people, I don't even necessarily think it's anti-Taylor. It's just the allure of the unknown and something fresh and something new with A-Rod and Mark Lowry. Because at the end of the day, none of us know how they're going to be as owners, but we all are just ready. It seems like last year, over the last couple of years, but last year in particular, the Timberwolves entered a new era, and it feels appropriate that these kind of big sweeping changes go along with it. Ownership changes, possible stadium renovations or a brand new stadium, just a whole wave of freshness to kind of put a new coat of paint on this new era of Timberwolves.
Understood. And, if the way I'm reading things is accurate, and Lowry and Rodriguez, like into the off season where you needed a GM, and they were behind hiring Tim Connolly.
Right.
Okay. So Lowry and Connolly, good relationship. So here comes Trader Tim. And also Lowry and Rodriguez had enough cachet or say to be behind the Rudy Gobert trade. Which let's not be duplicitous here. Let's not talk out of both sides of our mouths. Whether it's Lowry, Rodriguez, Taylor, Pohlad, Wilfer, whomever, everybody hated that Gobert deal that entire first season.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's not conveniently eliminate that from the mindset here. Now, all right, if Glenn was behind hiring David Kahn, that's a fat L. Okay, that is a fat L.
Yeah.
And what makes it a fat loss is, and this still bugs me when I think about it, man, is if Steph Curry's representation tells you, if you draft my guy, he will not play for you, well, then you can't not draft him. you just can't give in to the man and just put the pressure on the kid. Okay, fine. We're already bad. So he can go ahead and sit out. The owner over here has enough money to sustain. So that's how we're going to do it. We're not going to draft the kid with the pretty smile. We're not going to draft the kid who loves Skittles, and that's like he's trying to get a marketing deal. The kid from Syracuse, Flani Gin. We're not drafting Johnny Flynn. We're taking the kid, and if he really doesn't want to play here, he can sit out for the duration of whatever the duration is going to be. Now, it's easy to say if I'm the owner, that's just whatever. That was my take then. That's my take now. Is you eyeball that representation, you eyeball that player, and you make them make the move. No, we're drafting you. And if you don't want to place it out, because we're already bad. We know what it's like, man.
Right.
Just embrace it with us. And what's Steph going to do? Is he going to sit out for 2, 3, 4 years?
Doubt it.
No, he's going to play for the Timberwolves.
Exactly.
Well, that's a bad ownership move. Okay, now that's like one example. It can be like bad management by the general manager, but the ownership's the one that controls the cash.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's, eyeball him. Tell him this is what we're doing, and we'll see where it goes. So, that would be an example that comes to mind for me of something that could have gone a different direction if they were so inclined. But there indeed is a lot of blasting of Glenn Taylor that I've seen on the social media networks, vast and ever expanding audio networks, comments at the bottom of stories. And we have the free iHeartRadio app. So you can drop 30 seconds of commentary there and let yours truly know what I'm missing. This is the thick skin covenant. If I'm missing the proverbial eye of the storm here, then let me know, because I'd like to hear it. Bought the team in the mid-'90s, saved it from relocation to New Orleans, pushed the envelope to win now the Joe Smith bit, I'm glad you brought that up, because Taylor did push the envelope to win, or he pushed the envelope with Joe Smith and allegedly had a wink, wink, ink deal. Supposedly it was an under-the-table contract that got the owner suspended in 2000 and cost the team some first-round picks. All right, well, that's no good. No doubt about it. But think about this. Perhaps Glenn wanted to win so badly, he was Deflategate before Belichick made Deflategate popular.
I always love that one.
Was Glenn behind the Karl Anthony Towns trade? One that absolutely saves the team money. So, like, during this time of weird, or, like what part of the ownership gets to make decisions and final calls and stuff like that? All right. I saw some of that, like, we're going to get rid of Karl Anthony Towns, not because we think Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo are going to make us a better team, but because it's going to save us money. That's some commentary from homies who how that I read this morning. When Tim Connolly was hired as general manager and Laurie and A-Rod had a say, they moved on the Gobert deal. Now, like this Cat Julius Randle deal, most fickle fans hated the Gobert deal, especially when he was punching teammates slow-mo in the face on the bench in front of all hoo-how with the homies. That happened at a home game. Yeah, that's a nice deal. But then look to the next year. It was a great deal. Might be the situation with Randle and DiVincenzo. We're 54 into it, man. So why so harsh on the judgment of this deal, just 54 into it? Let's save that one, the analysis of that deal, and do we like Naz Reid starting? Who wants to eyeball Julius Randle and have the conversation with him when he returns from injury that you're coming off the bench?
I always love that one.
Okay, so we'll save that one for P. Fox tomorrow. So the 30-year owner seems to have lost his majority interest in the Wolves and Lynx, and Laurie and A-Rod will come in guns a-blazing. That's the belief. What's everybody think of that? Talkback Central around the corner if you're so inclined. This is KFAN.
Check out our contest page and see how you could win a pair of tickets to the Minnesota Golf Show Februury 21st through the 23rd at the Minneapolis Convention Center. That's KFAN.com. Keyword contest to enter for your chance to win.
Go on and hit him.
Got you.
What happened?
This is Derek, and I popped the champagne yesterday when I found out Mark Laurie and A-Rod won the ownership battle. And it's just obvious that they are going to get approved by the NBA Board of Governors because they are sick of Glenn Taylor's crap, just like the rest of the Wolves fans. Bye.
Yep, bye. What's up, D? Derek, appreciate the talk back. Appreciate the passion. Thanks for howling with your homies, 9 to noon. Audio home leader of FM 100.3, KFAN, Sports Monopoly, though. Still didn't get a Y. Still didn't get a, you know what makes me happy about this? This, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this. Max, Paul, have a good day. Kind of looking for that just to see what it sounds like. What's next?
Hey, PA, this is Minnesota Tim, your good friend. I just want to weigh in on the Glenn Taylor situation. He's getting bashed so hard right now, and maybe some of it is deserved for looking Andrew Wiggins in the eye and giving him the max deal and some of the Kevin Garnett beef. But let's not forget that he saved the Minnesota Timberwolves franchise from moving to New Orleans. If not for Glenn Taylor, the state of Minnesota would not even have a basketball team right now because he stepped in and saved it.
Minnesota Tim. That's fair. I mean, that's fair. Don't you think that's fair?
Yeah, that's fair. He gave both sides. He said, "Here's some of my criticisms about it, and here's the pros of it." So
okay, so now we're balancing
right
when it comes to fan reaction. Just trying to get a feel for where the vitriol is coming from. I am not yours truly. A, doesn't care enough about it, but B, is not impervious to opening the mind and or the heart and saying, "Teach me. Show me. Teach me tonight." A house is not a home. Copyright Luther Vandross. In my heart, unless I can get something tangible. What's tangible? Well, it's tangible when a team is going to relocate and somebody saves it. Because then there would be no howling with the homies. There would be no Johnny Flynn, Flonnie Gin, we didn't eyeball Steph. There would be no beef with Kevin Garnett. So if it's a beef with the most popular player in the history of the team, HOF, that is really working on the cockles of the basketball-loving souls of Rube Nation, first and foremost, and mostly, personally speaking, I think it's trumped by somebody saving a team from leaving, meaning you don't even have a team. Personally speaking, and I'm here to be taught.
Hey, PA Mike in Richmond. Yeah, I do appreciate Glenn Taylor for keeping the Timberwolves here. I don't think he's done much as far as creating a winning team up until now, but I think that's the infusion of the Lori Rodriguez energy and mindset.
Yeah.
But one thing that bugs me about Glenn is the fact that Kevin Garnett's number is not hanging in the rafters at Target Center. That has to be rectified, so let's move on.
Yeah, all right. I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's at 9 to noon is not here's the reality. Wow, man, you're going to give me the reality? I've been waiting around 59 years of my life for somebody to share the reality with me so I can move on with my life. This is not this is the reality leader. But there are emotions and there are tangible things that will hit us differently, like somebody saving a team from not leaving. Okay, that's concrete. I mean, that's concrete, big. Yeah, we can guess whether like somebody would have relocated, like we would have gotten a new team or something like. I don't know, man. I wasn't even here in '94. I didn't get here till '98. But when it comes to not acquiescing, not mending fences, not turning the other cheek, or not doing what people perceive as right in the eyes of the GOAT, the greatest of all time, the greatest of all Timberwolves, and mending that fence. Okay, I mean, I can feel that, and I can appreciate it. But for me, personally speaking, it's not a reason to like pop champagne and stuff because somebody's leaving. There just has to be more, I just wonder what I'm missing here.
I think that's kind of the cherry on top, because had Glenn Taylor and Kevin Garnett had this beef, but the Wolves were still.
What is the beef?
A win.
What the hell is the beef? Like, why do they have problems?
I think
Taylor want a part of the ownership or something?
Well, no. I think he did at one point wanted to be more part of the team, but Glenn Taylor, like after his playing career was over, but I don't believe that Glenn Taylor wanted that from what I have read. Okay. But also, I believe I think Kevin Garnett has said that he just thinks that Glenn Taylor doesn't know anything about basketball, and he was just very frustrated by management during his time playing here. And I think if the Timberwolves...
I can respect that.
Yeah. And if the Timberwolves had still been successful, I don't think Lakers fans really mull over, or Celtics fans mull over, missed draft picks or stuff like that, or, management issues because they're still successful. They don't have to hang their heads on that. But the Timberwolves had 13 seasons or something like that in between playoff appearances. They have one of the fewest amount of playoff appearances of any franchise in all of the NBA.
The Rambus days. I mean, seriously, here's how bad it was at one point. They draft Kevin Love. Yeah. There actually is some energy, around Target Center and with the team and stuff. And then for whatever the reason, everybody packs the Target Center for a season opener, Wolves against, I think, the Sacramento Kings, because they want to watch Kevin Love debut. Rambus brings him off the bench.
I always love that.
I'm not kidding you. I mean, everybody's like, what? What happened here? So like, what are we doing? Drawing a line in the sand here to show who's boss? I don't know. Maybe stuff like that, right?
Yeah, it's just little stuff like that. The constant little mismanagement things, not sometimes little, sometimes not.
Yep.
Andrew Wiggins getting that big deal, the David Kahn situation, constant draft blunders. Obviously, you could even cite maybe the Tom Thibodeau, Jimmy Butler sort of weird flame out, burnout
I just
thing.
wonder how that comes back to the owner.
It's just a bunch of compounded things. Like I said before, everything else has changed. Everything, so fans have nowhere else to point
Bad
their
hires.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't point their ire anywhere else besides Glenn Taylor because he's the one that's been there the entire time. So it's logical, I guess, logical in an emotional way to direct your ire towards Glenn Taylor because he's the one that has been the constant.
Right. Yeah, and Thibodeau's, he's facing the same thing in New York right now.
I always love that one.
Just bad, just awful.
I always love
Terrible.
that one.
Seriously, they should shut the Garden down when there's a Knicks game. Just turn off the lights. It's doing such a bad job. Okay. All right, 3-2. In closing here for this segment, any more talkbacks, or are we good?
Not a whole lot. It's most a lot of the same. People saying the Kevin Garnett thing. Some people giving Glenn Taylor his credit, but other people, one guy said, "Don't let the door hit you on your way out."
Cool. And 9 to noon, yours truly is not negative on Laurie and or Rodriguez becoming majority owners. Not negative on any of this ownership stuff that is flipped. Not a big fan of having a deal and then all of a sudden the deal that Max and I have. Now Max's side doubles and now I want to back out. Okay. So if that's completely accurate, which I believe it is, that's negative. I don't like that a lick. And that supposedly happened. So it's not who the brass is in this situation. Laurie and Rodriguez absolutely brought, I remember the early stages of it, an energy, a positive vibe. And, they were public and then they were frontal and you could tell they were proud to be part of the team. And, it's fans seem to glom onto that. And that's great. That's great. That matters. So, hey, best of luck to them when the Board of Governors says, yes, you're majority owners. If they buy out Taylor, they buy out Taylor. We'll see where it goes from there. So I'm not negative a lick on the majority flip here. I'm just wondering, after 30 some odd years of stewardship of an organization and somebody saving it from leaving, just why they're getting hit as hard as they're getting hit. Now, we think, just in closing here, I might get into this a little later, but we think the owner of the Timberwolves taking some hits right now. We with the Timberwolves, management, ownership, coaches and stuff, they've taken hits for decades because like Max said, the team for a decade and change was virtually in the outer darkness of NBA hierarchy. But if you missed this, it popped late last night, early this morning from Dallas with Tim McMahon of ESPN.com with emotions from the Luka Doncic trade still raw. Multiple fans were ejected in the second half of the Dallas Mavericks' loss to the Sacramento Kings last night at American Airlines Arena. That's where Dallas plays State of Hockey, due to violations of the NBA's code of conduct, according to a team spokesperson. Here's the deal. Each instance prompted boos from the crowd. How uncomfortable is this? Mavericks governor Patrick Dumont, whose family purchased the majority share of the franchise from Mark Cuban last season, also was booed loudly when he returned to his courtside seat with 2:56 remaining in the third quarter. Two of the fans held large poster board signs that read, "Fire Nico." Nico Harrison's the general manager. "Fire Nico." That's the reference to the GM. One of those men was seen mouthing "Fire Nico" on the arena video screens earlier in the game before the camera quickly panned out.
I always love it.
All right, here's the deal. The person who permitted the Rube saying "Fire Nico" to be on the screens should come under question as much as the Rube who said "Fire Nico" and it was caught for all to see.
I always love that one.
Amen on that?
Yeah, I think there might have been a double motive there by that camera guy. Maybe he might have similar feelings to that fan.
So now we have a Maverick. Wow, inside job. And I don't care if you fire me, man. I'll go across the street and work. Mavericks Vice President of Corporate Communications, Aaron Feingold, said in a statement released to reporters, quote, "In the first incident, the guest brought in a sign that broke the following rule included in the NBA Code of Conduct. Clothing, garments, or signs displaying explicit language, profanity, or derogatory characterization towards any persons is to be ejected." Harrison, the GM, had been subjected to harsh backlash since the Feb 2 deal in a shocking blockbuster fashion that was built around sending Luka to Los Angeles. Anthony Davis comes here. Approximately 1,000 people protested outside of the arena, blah, blah, blah. The GM did not even attend Saturday's game. He was in the arena Monday, but did not sit in his usual seat in the lower bowl of the stands. Wow. And then Davis goes for 26 and 16 rebounds in 31 minutes and gets hurt. He's out for weeks. Oh, wow. What a world.
They got the entire Anthony Davis experience in 3.5 quarters.
Yeah, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, he's unbelievable, and then he's hurt for months. That's the whole Anthony Davis career,
wow.
Macro and micro right there.
What a world. To football with Ben Gessling after this.